to use this picture because as body workers, we really work from our hearts. And most of the body workers I know love what they do. And they love the body, they love the mind and the spirit. And really our hands are an extension of our heart. And that's one of the beauties of body work is the love that people have. And they bring that work to people. And it's really acknowledging the body is that we're walking miracles. And most of the people that I know that do body work feel that way. It's just like miraculous that we have these incredible bodies that are so complex. What I'd like you to do before we go into the benefits of massage and the different kinds of massage, what I'd like you to do is just settle in. Because this is one of the gifts of body work, is really getting to feel your body. I love massaging people for the first time because I feel like I'm introducing them to their body. So that's what I'd like you to do right now, is just check in with your body. Feel your feet on the ground or wherever your feet are, and your legs and what you're sitting on. Feel your arms and your chest, your neck and your head. What I'm going to ask you to do is a little odd. What I'd like you to do is imagine yourself hurting yourself, like bumping into a coffee table or stubbing your toe. So just imagine that scenario. So as you imagine that, you can come back to the room. What are the two things that happens when we hurt ourselves?
Say bad words.
Okay.
We reach right on our hand.
Yeah, we'll touch, we'll touch our leg, or it's usually touching, some sort of touching, yeah.
Your chemistry changes. Your body chemistry changes.
Mm-hmm. It does, but
It's a verbal, whatever.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Sometimes
Yes.
tears.
Sometimes tears. And before that, you were.
Yeah, when you said stub your toe, I could feel that normally when I stub my toe, the pain shoots all the way up my leg, and I just kind of
The contraction.
close it. Yeah.
Right. So those are the two things that I'm kind of pointing to, is we touch ourselves where we got hurt, and we contract. And those are the things that body work address. So when we're working with someone, we're working with the contraction that happens. And contraction happens in our muscles, in our nerves, in our brain, even our blood sugar going off. We can get suppression in our brain, that happens. And we get suppression all through our body through having injury. And when a body worker touches you, it's the same response that you have to your own body, but it's like jumper cables. So when you touch yourself, you've got this closed circuit. But when someone else touches you, it's powerful, and it changes the body chemistry. So really, what we already do naturally, body workers do that, but have it more amped up. So it's, like I said, it's like jumper cables. So in body work, what we're going for is a relaxation of the contractions that happen in any kind of trauma. And so what I thought I'd do is go through, before I do that. So the body has wisdom. And one of the things that happens when we injure ourselves is that contraction or swelling or things to protect it. And the body can sometimes overdo it and keep trying to protect. And so we as body workers help people reveal that wisdom that the body already has. So we're going in and we're helping the body come back to that homeostasis that the body's always looking for. So what I thought we'd do is just try a little experiment. So you need to pair up with somebody else. Trying to make this as experiential as possible. And what I'd like you to do is decide who's going to do what first. So that we're going to do a little bit of muscle testing. And in muscle testing, what we're doing is we're reading the body. And I'm just giving you an example of how how body workers can, this is one modality that body workers can leave the body. So one person is going to test the fingers. So like, let's see. So you're going to take somebody's fingers and you're going to put their thumb and their ring finger together. And they're going to hold it tight. Okay? And you're going to try and pull it apart. So hold it. Okay? So do you guys want to do that together?
I'm going to hold it together.
Sure.
Okay.
You have to do it.
No, just see how strong they are. Okay? See how strong they are. Okay, so the person who has their fingers closed, put your hand on top of your head.
Oh, okay, fingers closed, not the other hand.
Yeah, there you go. It doesn't matter which hand it is, just the other hand that's not being tested. Okay, so just see how strong it is when you right? It should be strong. Okay? Now turn your hand over. Now try and pull them apart.
Very easy.
See, that breaks the energetic connection.
You're still.
Not with her? Well, when people can't do that, then you have to drink water and do things to get the...
When I put my hand on my head, this is stronger.
Yes, now did you turn it up?
Yes.
And it's still strong.
Yes.
Okay.
My buddy,
And that
he does
happens.
What is that?
stuff like that.
It means that you need more hydration.
Like, get my
It means your electrical system is in there.
I can't pick up.
There's at least one in every room.
Yeah, I mean, and when I muscle test people, that's the test to see if I can read them accurately. And if I can't, if it doesn't go weak when it's turned over, then that means that their system, I can't read their system. So, but that's just an example of how body workers can work with body's energy. So I wanted to go through the different parts of our systems that get affected by body work and the different types of body work that when we have different styles of body work, they all affect all of our systems. But some of the particular body works come in and like working with your nervous system more than your musculoskeletal. And so I'm just going to go through a few of those. So we've got the musculoskeletal with the attachments of the muscles. And that's what most people think of when they think of body work, is that we're just working with the muscles and bones. And that would be true, I mean, in Swedish, in deep tissue, in alignment work, with Rolfing, with Thai massage. So those are some of the different. And even with Swedish and deep tissue and alignment work and Rolfing, we're working with the fascia. So fascia is really interesting. It's like, have you ever skinned a chicken and there's like that slimy, thin, it's a membrane. And we have it under our skin, we have it between all of our muscles, in between all of our organs. And fascia, when I went to massage school 36 years ago, it was believed that fascia was just structural. It was just there to keep muscles sliding against each other. Well, now they've figured out that fascia carries fluid, it carries information, it carries electricity. I mean, it's like this web of communication all through our body. And so in doing body work, what happens again with injury, the fascia will get dehydrated, it contracts. So the fascia can't function properly, and it keeps that communication from communicating in the way that it does. So when you go in with deep tissue or with alignment work, even working just with the nervous system, and we'll see, we're going to do a little bit of foot reflexology, that loosens up the whole system. So even just rolling your foot on a ball will loosen up and hydrate your whole network of the fascia. So then there's the nervous system, right? And the nervous system is affected with whatever we're doing. And there are therapies that intentionally work with the nervous system so that it therefore can release the muscular tension. There's Traeger work, which I think Karla does, right? and Anat Banyel's work, Feldenkrais, that Lisa Mace does, that works a lot with the nervous system. And again, it affects all the rest of it. It affects the musculoskeletal and the fascia and the energy and all of that. But that's kind of the doorway in, is working with the nervous system. And I know doing just therapeutic massage, I'll get somebody that is really tight, and they might be a person that you lift up their arm and their arm just stays there, right? So is that muscles that's doing that? I don't usually interpret it that way. I interpret it that their nervous system is way amped up. So there's things that you need to do instead of just going in and getting the muscles loose. You've got to go in and get movement happening, get trust happening, so because there's a real art to receiving body work as well as there is to giving it. And it's being able to really let go. And that's one of the gifts of body work, is that you start learning how to do that. So even though you may be on the table and this body worker is helping you learn how to let go, you can take that out into the rest of your life. So that when you do have moments of contraction, you can go, oh, I'm contracting right now. And you have more of an awareness of like, oh, I can also let go. So sometimes it's a real education for body workers to work with people, to teach them how to let go. I remember one time I was massaging somebody and I started kind of jiggling them, which is what the Traeger work does. It's a lot of rocking. And I didn't say a word, and they go, I'm trying. So even though I wasn't using verbal, they knew what I was trying to get them to do, was to let go, So, and then there's also addressing the qi or the vital energy force, Chinese medicine, shiatsu. Shiatsu is a style of body work that follows the meridians, and we have a couple acupuncturists here, and Casey, she also does tuning forks with the different acupuncture points. And so in the Chinese medicine, how they look at it, and you guys might want to correct me, but is that these flows of energy or qi or vital force get blocked. And again, a lot of times it's from trauma and things tighten up. And so what the Chinese medicine does, either through touch or needles, is to open up that vital force so that it can go through the whole body. Let's see, and then the vascular system. We know how important that is to get the blood going everywhere. But the one part of the vascular system that some people don't know about is the lymph. And the lymph is a closed system. So our veins and our arteries, it's an open system. It's a circular system. It goes through our heart, it gets pumped. Well, the lymph is closed. So it starts from our capillaries, and then it comes and it dumps all the waste, from our body and back into our heart and into the blood so that it can go to the spleen and get cleaned out and liver. So as we get exposed to toxins, they get stored all over our body, and the lymph comes in and cleans it up. It's like the vacuum cleaner. And if it doesn't get moving, then we're full of toxins, and that can create contraction. And so there's actually a therapy called lymph drainage, and people use that in hospitals post-surgery, because that's one of the things that gets, after surgery, a lot of times lymph will get, it'll get kind of backed up.
Stuck.
Yeah, stuck, yeah, backed up, and you can really get swollen. And the lymph drainage is just this really light surface touch. It's almost like you can hardly believe that it works. But when I've worked with people that have had backed up lymph, it's incredible. It's amazing how it can really get the lymph going. And really any movement and that's how the lymph works, is by walking. Our muscles are contracting and relaxing, and that is the pump instead of our heart. So sometimes people need extra help getting their lymph moving. And let's see, so you would have that in the lymph drainage, but also in Swedish. The Swedish is more, there's a lot of long strokes, and when I was taught that, it was really taking those movements towards the heart, so that you would encourage the vascular system. And then there's the endocrine system, which is a huge complex system, and it's all of our hormones. It's our thyroid and adrenal glands, and we've got pineal glands, and anyway, we've got a lot of different glands all through our system. And touch and body work really affects the endocrine system. And it will lower cortisol levels, which is the stress hormone that our adrenals pump out, and our society really creates a lot. So it's even though these other systems, other than the musculoskeletal, that's the more obvious one, but we have all these systems that get affected by body work. And we can talk more about the different types if you want to. I've got a few listed here that are the therapeutic massage, the shiatsu, Swedish, craniosacral. Craniosacral is one that works with the cerebral spinal fluid that's always running around our brain and around our spine. So the craniosacral therapist actually feels that pulse and feels where that pulse gets stuck, and encourages that pulse of that cerebral spinal fluid that goes around our brain and our spine, from all the way down to the sacrum. So that's why it's cranial here, sacral up here. And there's the body talk that Karla does, which is using ways to talk to the body. Any other types of massage that anybody's curious about or knows about? The triggers?
The Usui system of natural healing, which is Reiki.
Reiki, yes, which is really
Very
energetic, because there's not a lot of touching with it. It really is using.
There is touch.
It really is it? Okay. When I took it, it was more holding over.
And more polarity.
And then there's polarity. Yeah, and polarity is great. It's you almost feel like an energetic pulse, and there's different ways of holding in the different parts of the body, and then you let that pulse equalize as you're working with people. For the Bowman, I just looked it up. It's a cross fiber technique that stimulates the parasympathetic. So right there, we're working with the muscles and the attachments, but it's stimulating the nervous system, the parasympathetic, the part of the nervous system that allows us to relax and regulates our heart rate and our breath and all of that. And so it causes an auto-regulation response that relaxes the muscles. So there's a lot of different ways to come in to working with the body. Working with alignment, which is one of my favorites. I love looking at the body and seeing how it's aligned. And because if you have, you can imagine if you've got a joint, you've got muscles here and here, and they work opposite to each other. So if one gets too tight and one gets too loose, what's going to happen in the joint? It's going to go out of whack, and it's going to get rubbed in the wrong way, and then we get hip replacements and all of those things. So alignment work is just, it's powerful. I was just on a retreat, and I saw this woman. She had a bow leg, and she went into this guy was doing really intensive body work, and I swear her legs were straighter. When she came out, I was just like, oh my God. Of course she was screaming while she was in there. But it was one of those, it's like, but yeah, some, like rolfing and things can be very painful. And there's debates about whether that outweighs or not. I tend to try to stay on the edge with people that they can, as long as they can stay relaxed, then it's not too much. But if they're starting to guard, then I feel like that's too much. But there's different thoughts on that, and some people have really, really got a lot of benefit out of some of the really deep, more painful work, breaking up tissue. Anything else? Any other styles we should?
Oh, Thai is very powerful.
Thai, yeah. And it's using the practitioner's body as well. Using their feet. A lot of times I'll use my foot. I'll take somebody and work on their thigh, and that. Yeah, Thai is really fun, and it can stretch a person. So So doing passive stretching can be really powerful compared to doing your own stretching where you use muscles. Because when you're passive, then you can really release and go into the stretch. So
There's one thing about that sense of the painfulness of deep work,
Mhm.
certain kinds of work. In one leg of my experience in the past, I recognized that the kind of painful work that I was being taught, the pain was painful emotional memory in the tissue.
yes.
And so it can change. So
Mhm.
where that woman who was yelling, she
Mhm.
probably released some emotion there.
Yeah, it's
And it's
true.
very
Yeah.
likely that then that spot is not as painful or as guarded or as holding because it's
Right.
been allowed to experience whatever it was that got locked in there.
Yeah.
So that's an interesting whole different avenue in itself.
Yeah, and the Rosen body work really addresses the emotions, and we hold so much, and there's different parts of the body that hold emotion, you know, like the deep abdominal psoas muscles, the ones along your throat, you know, when you think about when you get upset and you know, that knot gets in there, well, it goes in your muscles too, you know. So as you do body work, it not only frees up contraction in the physical body, but it does in the energetic and in the emotional as well. So let's have a little experience. So I'm going to hand out these, you can just pass them along. And what I'm going to have you do, just take them. I brought some balls, so you're going to need to take at least one shoe off, because you're only going to work on one foot right away. If your feet are really tender, take one of the bigger balls. If you've got fairly tough feet, then take the little ones. The little ones are the more, you can get more precise with them. And I only brought 4 of the big ones, so, and I brought lots of little ones. So, anybody need a bigger one? Yeah, you're a tenderfoot?
Yeah.
Want a big one or get them?
I'm not really, but I know how to sit was.
Okay, so before you do anything, just have your ball on the floor, have your chart next to you or on your lap. And we're going to check in with our body again before you do anything. And you can take a look at the chart while everything's getting passed out. And what I'll ask you to do, now don't put your foot yet. You can yell at him, that's fine. So before you do anything with your feet or the ball, you can look at the chart and just kind of think about maybe spots that you might want to build. Do that. That you might want to massage once you start doing it. But first, before we do that, I want you to just check in and feel your feet and compare them how they are before you touch the ball. Really check in. Just feel your feet on the ground. Feel how they're feeling. Take a couple deep breaths. Breath is another important part of body work. And then massage just one of your feet. So take the ball underneath your foot, and you can look at the places on the chart and just be curious about maybe how your liver feels or your lungs. The feet are very much like our body. So our big toe is our head. The neck of our big toe is actually our neck. And the spine is on the inside. The waist is at the arch of our foot. So a lot of times people will feel a lot of strong sensations at the arch of their foot because of how our backs are used so much. So really you can stand up like Doris is doing, and really put some pressure. People that are at home looking at the video, I don't know if we can film the chart so you can
That
have
can be
it
put on the
on.
website. That chart can be put on the website.
Okay, yeah, so the chart can be on there, and you can just take a super ball. I got all these balls from the dollar store. And,
Real dollar store.
yeah, and it's so good. like I was saying earlier, as you massage your feet with a ball like this, it not only stimulates all of these reflex points and therefore sends energy and blood and nervous and your nerves to those areas, but it also hydrates the fascia throughout our whole body. So when you're done with one foot, stop and feel the difference between the foot that you've massaged and the one that has not been massaged.
More blood flow.
Mm-hmm.
More alive.
More alive.
Yeah.
Yeah. And how about the rep up your leg? Did it? Can you feel how it maybe shifted? How you're sensing that whole leg or even that side? Yeah. It's just an experience to see how.
The other one says, me too, me too.
I can hear it from here.
Yeah.
I bet.
The other one is saying do me, so I'm doing it.
Yes, exactly. Yes. Exactly. So there's ways that we can do body work on ourselves, through little balls like this or yoga, things like that. But there is a component about having somebody else's hands on.
Oh, God, yeah.
I always come back to the.
that.
Nothing can beat that. Human touch. I love using that analogy of jumper cables. It's really just, And when you're looking for a body worker or someone to work on your body, you really want to have somebody that meets your body. And that can distinguish between kind of a spa massage that, is more, it's relaxing, but it's usually a routine. They've got a routine down and they're not really meeting your body. And that's always my kind of criteria about liking a body worker is how much do they meet my body? And me as a practitioner, how much can I read? And that's my favorite part of doing body work, is that communication that happens between somebody's body and their all of these systems that we've been talking about in my hands, and they talk to each other without words, and it can really be magical, So.
It's not marked here, I don't see anything, but what is this part representing? Right?
That's the hip.
Oh, right there?
Yeah, so in the middle of your foot, the opposite side from your arch, there's kind of a joint there, and that's the hip.
Right.
It's not on that chart.
It's on the lower part, on the right hand side.
Oh, okay.
But it's more towards the heel on there, on that picture.
Oh, okay.
I know not all charts are.
Yeah.
They differ. And what I do is I just look at the foot and think of the body and just go by, like the lungs are like right in the middle and the kidneys are down near, kind of in the middle of the foot near the lower back.
It seems pretty accurate to just find where the spots are sore first, and then look at that. Because your body's telling you, right?
Right. Well, yeah, early in my career, I was working in a chiropractor's office and had a woman come in and she had a really bad shoulder. And I worked on her shoulder, and then when I got to her foot, I went, oh, this is your shoulder spot. And it was really sore on her foot. And I said, you can work on this, if you want. So she came back in a week or two, and she goes, you healed my shoulder. And I said, I don't think so. So I massaged her, and I got to her foot, and I got to that spot. She goes, I've been doing that every day. And I said, that's what healed your shoulder. So it's I through all the years of doing body work, I have come to believe in reflexology, and it's not just the feet; it's in the ears, it's in the hands.
Yes.
I've even seen charts of the skull and the teeth, which I don't know. And some people who do foot reflexology, they're like fortune tellers. I mean, I've known people that can tell you that you've had a tooth pulled, or I'm not that good at it, but some people can really read the feet. It's pretty amazing. So anyway, we'll go back over the benefits. So what are the benefits? What have you learned tonight? So we've gone through all the different systems, right? So what are the benefits of remembering?
Circulation, blood flow.
Hmm?
Circulation, blood flow.
Yeah, circulation, right?
Relieving pain,
Relieving pain. And why would it relieve pain?
because you're relieving the tension of the muscles.
Right, right. So things that get contracted, not a lot of blood flow can go there. You know, it increases healing because obviously blood flow can come to it and then you get more oxygenation, but it also takes the waste out as well. So it's really good for detoxing.
I think giving the body the experience that everything's connected
Yes.
really changes the mind about certain
Yes.
things we might be cutting off from because we think that's a problem area.
Just getting people in their bodies.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, a lot of people live outside of their bodies and they don't have direct experience. And so body work really helps people get into their bodies and have a direct experience because we spend so much time in our thinking minds. So it helps with stress reduction in that way.
Generalizing to your life, letting go.
Yeah, letting go, exactly. Yeah, yeah. And if you learn to let go physically, then it can translate into letting go emotionally and mentally as well. So it reboots the system, you know, because the body can get into these contracted modes and it just hangs on because it's like, I gotta do my job and I gotta protect, you know. And as you get touched and as you start to trust, it's like, oh, I can let go. So you're kind of rebooting the system and letting the system get a reset. And then we talked about alignment. You know, that alignment's so important so that we wear our joints smoothly and evenly.
And not wear them out.
And not wear them out, exactly. And it's, and as, I don't know if you've noticed, like if you hurt your ankle, it doesn't just stay with your ankle being out of alignment, it translates all the way up through all the joints. You know, if your hip, a lot of times I watch the pelvis and especially the sacrum, when it gets rotated, it'll rotate the rest of your spine all the way up through your neck. You know, so a lot of times it's working with the sacrum to get the rest of the spine lined up. And then there's some people who believe that just adjusting the atlas at the very top, then everything lines up. So there's lots of different ways of looking at body work. And there's so many different styles of body work. And we're hoping that in the spring that we can get a lot of the practitioners from Willits to come together on a panel so that the public can come and ask them questions about all the different styles of body work and why you would use one for a particular reason than the other. So any other questions? I can't believe I got all that in. I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to get it all in
You're
there.
here for that.
Carla, I would be interested in hearing about some of the work the body workers in the audience do,
Yes.
if they could say more about what they do.
Yeah, I would love to, yes. So anybody want to talk about the styles that they work on?
Let's see, well, I do a combination of Traeger work and craniosacral with hands-on work and some massage work, and because they both address sort of the unconscious, subconscious layers of patterning and what the nervous system is used to doing, they make a good combination and they relax the nervous system pretty deeply. You know, just giving things a place to rest and giving the experience of ease, of movement, that sort of thing, in contrast to the effort with which we usually do things. And then body talk is a very different kind of work in which I do ask the body, using something like muscle testing, what the priorities are for healing. And that, usually you'll find out places that need to communicate better internally. And then we do a tapping procedure to just bring awareness into the system. It's really based on quantum physics in terms of bringing awareness changes what's happening in the body. So those are things that I do.
Yeah, with this new neuroscience, I'm so convinced that we heal when our autonomic nervous system is relaxed.
That's right.
So there's a whole new system of therapy that's called relaxation therapy that uses sound and vibration light to really get the nervous system. So I think all of the body work is,
And the Ayurvedic approach with the raindrop therapy is
Yes.
based on with warm oils, essential oils, certain aromas.
Yes.
There's so many approaches we can take, and it seems so individual. Try as much as you can. Too
Yeah.
bad that it costs. It's worth trying a lot of different forms.
Yeah.
It's a different one for everybody.
As a registered nurse and a Reiki master and a practitioner, I see oftentimes how just the relaxation, being able to take someone or help them just settle down into that autonomic nervous system. And Reiki is something that just goes to where there's a need in the body, and there's not a whole bunch of thought except observation. But the changes and the connection people can make with their own spirit, and sometimes the things that they can think about in situations that are causing them stress, they can get answers to as they're just in that place. So there's like a body, mind, spirit, and emotional kind of healing.
yeah, and it allows for that wisdom.
It allows for that
Yeah.
wisdom. And then afterwards with a little suggestion, bones can go back into place because, like you say, the muscles are now relaxed. And so it's a very non-invasive, total relaxation experience.
But I mean, our bodies are so wise.
Yeah, they know what they need.
Yeah, and sometimes they try too hard.
Yeah.
And we just have to encourage them. And as body workers, we're not creating something that isn't already there. We're just enhancing what the body already does naturally.
We're facilitators.
Facilitators, yeah, I like using that word too. Facilitators.
I work with Reiki, with energy psychology, with sound, and with neuro-linguistic programming.
Wonderful, wonderful.
They're all wonderful tools, and they all kind of mix together and flow together. And
Do you want to say a little bit about neuro-linguistic programming?
it's a way of training ourselves. It's like tapping works that way. It's based on neuro-linguistic programming. You install a trigger, or you install a reflex. It's like aromatherapy is that way too, because it's bringing a memory out. A certain smell can bring you back to your childhood. You may not even know where that is. That's a neuro-linguistic program. There are all these little things that have been installed in us all our lives, and some of them, a lot of them happen unconsciously. Your grandmother's perfume or something like that, or a special flower. With NLP, we install them deliberately in order to
associate, like having nerves that fire together, wire together.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Even snapping a rubber band or doing the EFT, that's all based on the same process.
Yeah, and EFT is another therapy where a therapist can tap on you, but you can also do it yourself. And there's a sequence, and you can bring up memories, and a lot of times when I was doing the EFT, a lot of times I'd be working on a particular memory, but then other ones would flood up. And it was almost like the unpeeling of the onion.
It's like peeling an onion.
Yeah,
Exactly.
and that's what happens a lot of times in body work. You want to talk at all about Chinese medicine and
In terms of body work?
yeah.
Well, just, I can say something about shiatsu. I guess that's more body work than acupuncture is. But they work basically on the same theories and principles that also through touch you can do a diagnostic workup of a person through their abdomen and see which meridians and which organ systems are out of balance, and then use different pressure points along those meridian channels in order to bring the body back into a state of balance. Like everyone's saying, if you're in balance, if you're relaxed, your body then will tend to naturally heal itself. So it's working along those same principles.
Our body wants to be in homeostasis. And it's really, again, it's a miracle because our homeostasis, it's a very small window. Like our calcium to our magnesium, or all the different windows of how our balance is. It's really incredible that we function as well as we do.
One of the things in Asian medicine that is a good post-surgical technique I found is repairing meridians. Anytime there's been an incision, a meridian is interrupted.
Yeah.
And so reinstalling those and repairing that energy system is very important.
Yeah, because Rick does, he needles underneath scars. Because the scar tissue will actually interrupt the flow. So go out there and get body work.
Oh, yeah. Get it, you know.
Tuned up, yes.
Get healthy.
Yeah, and healthy, yeah. It's, you know, my belief is that we're all interconnected, so the healthier I am, it helps everybody. The healthier you are, it helps everybody. So thank you for coming tonight.
Thank you.
For doing the work that you do, Karla.